get everything raised up there a little bit. Good morning, welcome to the kitchen. We got a lot to get done this morning, so good morning. As you can see, I've got my Nutri-Mill grain grinder out. I need to grind some wheat berries because I'm warming up my starter and I need to feed my starter, and I want some fresh ground flour to feed my starter because I'm almost completely out of my fresh ground flour. That's all I have left. So I need to get that started. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we, as you've seen on the thumbnail, we are going to make some butter. And making homemade butter is so easy. So I'm going to show you how I do it. And I hope you enjoy this. I mean, it's quick, it's easy. And we're going to make some homemade butter. And as you've seen from my thumbnail, we're going to be using this little kit. Now, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I seen this little kit, and I thought that would be really nice for a small family. And it's just my husband and myself, so I can make small batches of butter. And it is homemade butter. So I was looking through Amazon, I believe is where I got this from. And I found this nice little butter making kit. And I've used it several times, and I really like it. And I'm going to make some fresh homemade butter this morning, so I thought I'd bring you along for that. And this is the kit that I'm going to be using. And it's a very nice little kit. This kit comes with your churn. And this is about close to a quart. And it has got stainless steel blades, as you can see. It has the wooden handle on top, the wooden handle on the side, so you can churn your butter. And at first, I wasn't really sure what I would think of the stainless steel blade, but I really like this. I mean, it's amazing. And it comes with a little rubber pad that we're going to be using, and that we'll be using to set our churn on so it doesn't slip and slide on our counter. So we'll be using that as we churn. That comes with the kit. The kit also comes with 2 wooden paddles, and one side is smooth and the other side has ridges. And this is for squeezing your butter. Once you've made your butter, you want to squeeze all of the liquid out of your butter. And this is for squeezing the butter and helping to form the butter. So we'll be using these little wooden paddles. They came with the kit. The kit also came with this beautiful little crock, and this is a little butter crock. And you probably can't see it, but it says butter. And people call them a butter crock or a butter bell because they are shaped like a little bell. So this little crock comes with the kit, and you'll put your fresh butter in there if you're wanting soft, fresh butter. And you put your butter in your crock. You add a little bit of cold water on the bottom, and that forms a natural seal. And you just set your crock with your fresh, soft butter right on your counter or on your island, and you have soft butter. Now, it will last about 7 days out on your counter, but you want to check your water every couple days or every day and add fresh cold water into your butter crock or your butter bell, whichever you prefer to call it. And that will keep a nice seal. Nothing can get into your crock, and you always have nice, soft, fresh homemade butter. So we're going to be putting our homemade butter in the little crock that came with this kit. And then the kit came with a little manual. And this just gives you instructions. It's very nice. It's a little manual, and it's just about 3 steps. And it's that quick and that easy, and you have homemade butter. So we're going to be making some butter this morning. And so that is everything that comes with the kit. And again, that is we'll be using the Amish Turn and Turn Pro. And I absolutely love this little kit. It was inexpensive. And for a small family like myself and my husband, this is absolutely amazing. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So we're going to get started, and we're going to make some butter. So to make the butter, all you need is some whipping cream. And I just picked up some Kroger, and it's a heavy whipping cream. And the main thing is you need to let this get to room temperature. You don't want this to be cold. You want this to be room temperature. So we do have this at room temperature. So we're ready to open this and get started with the butter. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and grind up some of my wheat berries, and then I'm going to get started on the butter. And then we'll also look at the fermented honey garlic that were started yesterday, and I'll show you, this is day 2, I'll show you what I'm going to do with that today. So let me go ahead and put on, I'll just hold on that because that's going to be loud. So let me hold on that. But I do need to grind some flour, fresh flour, for my sourdough starter. I need to feed it, and I want some fresh ground whole hard wheat berries into my flour. So I'm going to go ahead and move you over here. And this is where we're going to be working this morning. This is my little area that I'm going to be working in. So let me make myself just a little bit of room. And then I have something special to show you. Hello, this is Korea. Good morning. Good morning again. How are you this morning? My absolutely wonderful, amazing husband bought me an amazing gift. So I'll be sharing that with you here in just a little bit. So I'm going to make just a little bit of room. And we are going to start making some butter this morning. So I have this is a 5 milliliter glass cup, and I'm going to be needing 3 milliliters to make my butter. So I've got that ready. I've got my butter churn ready. Or my butter crock ready. My butter crock, butter bell. I have my churn ready. I've got my little rubber mat that came with the kit. And I have my wooden paddles. For some reason, I keep going down this morning, so maybe I can get it. And this has smooth on one side, and it has little ridges on the other side. And this we're going to be using to shape our butter when we make the butter. So we're going to be using our 2 little pads, or paddles. Maybe I should have had another cup of coffee before I got started this morning. And we'll be following the simple instructions that came with this kit. And you've seen the kit on my thumbnail. And we're going to be using the Amish Chef Turn and Turn Pro butter maker kit. And the reason I got this is because it's just myself and my husband. And I know that it's not going to make a large amount of butter. It's going to make a small amount of butter. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I have everything washed, sanitized, and cleaned. So we're ready to do that. I have my only ingredient that I'm going to need, which is heavy whipping cream. And I have this at room temperature. So this is what we're going to be using to make the batter. So it's going to be one ingredient. And we're going to be using this churn. And I want to make sure that I have it on my rubber mat so that it's not sliding. So let me go ahead and open this. I really like this one. It has a stainless steel blade on the bottom for the paddle. It has the wooden handles, stainless steel top and gears, and then the wooden handle on the side that you're going to be using to churn it. Okay, so I'm going to just set that to the side. And now I've got my heavy whipping cream. And I'm just going to follow my instructions. This is so easy. So quick. In 15 minutes, we're going to have butter. Okay, step 1. Pour 300 milliliters of room temperature. And you want to make sure it's room temperature. It says double or whipping cream into the butter churn and secure the lid. So if you have your own fresh milk, you're going to be using your heavy cream. So I'm going to go ahead and get that measured out. And you want this at room temperature. Very important. This has to be room temperature. I see a kitty over there looking at me. No, kitty. So I'm going to get my whipping cream in, and I need 300 milliliters. And I had froze my whipping cream, so if you have whipping cream, you can freeze it. Just make sure that you thaw it overnight in the refrigerator. And then you want to set it out and make sure that it is at room temperature. Okay, so I've got 300 milliliters of my whipping cream. Now I'm just going to add that right into my jar. Let me get a spatula. Hold on just 1 minute. That is very thick, so let me get my spatula. I thought I was ready this morning, but I wasn't quite ready. So let me get all that whipping cream into my jar, into my churn jar. Okay, and I'm going to just add a little water in that and let that set. And I'm going to go ahead and rinse off that paddle, because I'm probably going to need that here in just a minute. Or that spatula. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse that off, and I'll have it. Okay, so I've got my 300 milliliters of the whipping cream. Now I'm just going to put my lid on. And I have to be careful because I want to over tighten. I just want to make sure I'm not doing that because I don't need it real tight. Now I'm going to set my stove timer, and in 15 minutes, that's how quick and easy this is. We're going to have homemade butter. So I'm going to talk to you while I churn. And that's all we're going to do. We're just going to churn the butter. Churn that whipped cream with heavy whipping cream. And in 15 minutes, we are going to have butter. And as you can hear, it's not loud. I'll sit down and be watching TV and take 15 minutes and make butter. But this morning, I'm standing so I can show you how fast and easy this is. And again, the only ingredient that I've got in here is heavy whipping cream. And you're going to slowly see it go through stages. And the first stages is going to look like whipped cream, almost like a Cool Whip. And then it'll go from that to butter. And we will have butter within 15 minutes. And then we will also have some buttermilk. And this is the Amish Chef Turn and Churn Pro butter making kit. And this makes absolutely delicious butter. It's so fast and so easy. So if you have 15 minutes, you can have fresh homemade butter. Right now it doesn't look any different. I'll kind of show you as we're going. It still looks like heavy whipping cream. It's starting to get a little bit thicker. And we're just going to do this for 15 minutes. So if you have someone that's resting or napping and you want to make some quick butter, it's not loud. It's something that's really quiet. You can even set, like I said, a lot of times I'll sit and watch TV while I'm making butter. And I set my stove timer for 15 minutes, and I still have 12 minutes and 13 seconds. And I do have this on the little rubber mat that it came on. That way it's not sliding everywhere. This is a very nice little kit. Of course, I got this because it's just my husband and myself. We're not a large family. And I made some homemade bread, and I wanted some fresh homemade butter. And I do have my 2 wooden paddles there that we'll be using to squeeze the excess water out and shape the butter. And I do have a little butter crock that came with the kit. A butter crock, butter bell. We'll be putting our butter in this. And it only takes 15 minutes and you have fresh homemade butter. And it's starting to chunk up a little bit. You can see how it's starting to get a little chunky. So we're starting to see something happening in there. It's starting to get thicker. And it's starting to turn a little bit yellow. Whoops, let me get it up there where you can see. See, it's starting to make butter already. Tighten that up a little bit. And it's getting thicker as I'm spinning it. But you can see that I'm already getting butter in there. Look at that butter. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm starting to get butter in there. That's how fast, how easy. Let me see if I can show you here. See, I'm already starting to form a little bit of butter in there. This is so fast and so easy. It's so easy to make your own homemade butter. My puppies hear this and they don't know what that noise is. I'll hold down on that so they don't hear that. getting there. I want to continue to spin. No. Okay, let me see if I can move that butter around a little bit with my spatula so I make sure that it's all getting, and I want to the end, I want it in the middle. And I've got a paper towel there I'm laying that down on. I want to make sure with me opening it, it moved the butter to the outside, so I want it right there in the middle so I can spin it. There we go. And it's getting harder to spin, so we're getting butter. And I'm down to about 7 minutes and 20 seconds. And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Check it here. See if I can get that down off of those sides. And we are definitely getting butter, as you can see. Look at all that butter. And this is so smooth and it's absolutely delicious. And this is how easy it is to make homemade butter. If you have 15 minutes and a little bit of whipping cream, I really want one of these, but then I found out I could shake it in a jar. I can't believe how easy butter is. Used to see people churning butter, and I thought they did it a long time. Now, this is just the Amish Turn and Churn Pro kit. And I really like it because it's just my husband and myself. So it doesn't make a lot of butter at a time. And I'm just making, what I'm making will fill up the little container that came in the kit. This little crock, butter crock came in the kit. It says butter. And it's a little butter barrel. And this came with the kit. And it's just enough to fill up my butter barrel. And then I will set that on my counter. And anytime I want fresh butter, fresh soft butter, I have fresh soft butter. And like I said, a lot of times if I'm just watching TV, I'll just sit down and do this while I'm watching TV. But for the video today, I'm standing to show you how easy this is. And it's one ingredient, and it takes 15 minutes. And it looks like I have got quite a lot of butter going on in there. And I am down to about 4 minutes. Again, I'm going to move that butter to the inside. I just want to make sure it all stays together. And look at that Beautiful butter. So one ingredient in 15 minutes and we have homemade butter. I also have a water butter keeper. They are a must to have to store in the fridge. I love them, yes, and I absolutely love them as well. I'll make mine, and if I'm going to be using it that morning, I'll have my soft butter, and then I can store it in the refrigerator, and whenever I'm wanting my soft butter, I just set it back out on the counter. Now, a lot of times I'll add just a pinch of salt to mine when I'm making it, because my husband likes salted butter. And I didn't do that today. I just followed the recipe. And I think we are just about done here. It takes 15 minutes on this little turn and churn pro kit. And I like that it's all stainless steel. It's easy to clean. And in your glass churn jar, everything cleans up so easy. And I think we are just about done here. And we're down to 1 minute and 5 seconds. And then we will have butter. And I think this is the closest that I've came to my grandmother's homemade butter. And she was a Mennonite, and I used to love it when she made homemade butter. And I'm just following the instructions here this morning. Okay, it has been 15 minutes. So, following the instructions after we have done, we put our room temperature whipped cream in was step 1. And then step 2 was to churn for approximately 15 minutes. Watch as the cream thickens and turns into butter. And now we're going to separate the butter from the buttermilk. That's step 3. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let me see if I have a little jar. I'm not sure if I have a small jar here this morning. I don't have a small jar, so I'm just going to use, well, let me get a pint jar. I think I've got a pint jar over here. I have a clean pint jar over there, so we'll just go ahead and use that. And we're going to separate now the butter from the buttermilk. So I'm going to remove my lid. Oh my goodness, just look at that beautiful butter. And I'm going to take that off of there. Get it down in my jar. And I don't like to waste, so I'm going to try and get as much of that off of there as I can. Now I'm going to use my spatula to kind of hold that in place. And now I'm going to separate my butter from my buttermilk. So if you like to make buttermilk biscuits or buttermilk pancakes, this would be your buttermilk that you could use for that. Now I'm separating the butter from the buttermilk. So now this is going to be my butter. Just look at all that beautiful butter in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on that jar. And I'm going to use this to make some buttermilk biscuits or some buttermilk pancakes. Okay, and following the instructions, step 4, which is I need to place my butter into a bowl with cold water with ice. I like salted butter too. You said you made bread. Was it plain or sourdough? I do both. Yesterday I just made a plain loaf, so I have a plain loaf of bread this morning. And I made sourdough on a couple of my last lives. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a bowl. And I think I might have a few ice cubes left. In this small tray. So I'm just going to go ahead and add those in there. And then I'm just going to add some water. And this is a small batch, so I'm not going to need a whole lot of water. And now I'm going to separate or put my butter into my water. And then I'm going to be separating my butter from that water. So let me go ahead and get as much of that in there as I can. Again, I don't like to waste. So let me get all of that in there. Let me wash my hands again, and I'm going to roll up my sleeves a little bit. That was mommy babies. Sorry, I have the Maltese and they love to bark. Okay, and this kit also came with the 2 wooden paddles. So I'm going to be using the 2 wooden paddles. And I'm just going to be turning this butter. I'm just going to kind of turn it around. I'm going to use my flat ends while I'm doing this. These paddles have a flat side and they have a ridged side. I'm going to be using my flat side, and I'm just going to be turning this butter into this water because I want to wash all that buttermilk off of there. So I'm just basically turning it over with my paddles and just kind of rotating it around, making sure I get all of my ends. And I just wanted to give it a good rinse. Okay, now comes the exciting part. I'm going to go ahead and get my butter bell ready. And I have my butter crock. And I'm going to use a spoon here in just a little bit. So I'm going to get my spoon ready. And I think that's going to be about perfect size. I think that's what I normally use. So now I want to squeeze all that water out of this butter. Now, once I do all this squeezing, if you want to, you can also use a cheesecloth to make sure that you get all of that water out. So this, I'm using the ridge side of my paddles. And I'm just kind of shaping it up on there. And I'm giving it a really good squeeze. And if there's any water in there, I want to get that water out. But you can use a cheesecloth after you do this if you want to make sure that there's no more water. But I usually don't have any trouble getting all the water out just using these paddles because they have the nice grooves on them. So I'm going to give it one more good squeeze. Just look at that beautiful butter. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? I'm going to give it one more good squeeze. And it doesn't look like I'm getting anything out of it, so I think we're going to be good. So I'm going to start putting this in my butter bell. Or butter crock, whichever you prefer to call it. But that is absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'm going to get that one off to the side. I'm going to move my water. I'm done with that. And now I'm going to put my fresh homemade butter into my butter bell that came with my crock. And this should be just enough. This kit will make just enough to fill this butter bell. So what I'll do is I'll take some of my butter off. And then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to pack that. Because I don't want any air pockets down in there. So I'm going to take my spoon. And as I'm putting it in there, I'm packing it. So I'm just dropping it in, taking that spoon, smoothing it out. I'm hoping you can see that okay. I'm just dropping it in, taking my spoon, and I'm kind of smoothing it out and packing it up against those edges. And what that does is it takes out any air bubbles that you've got in your butter. And I'm just going to keep doing that till I get all of my butter down in my crock. Into the little bell. Oops, I missed. And this is so soft. It's so pretty, such a bright yellow. And I just want to go back around there and make sure I don't have any air pockets. Because when I set this butter bell back in the crock, it's going to be holding my butter. So I'm trying to really pack it down in there. And I'm moving up against the sides to pack it down in. Just adding small amounts at a time. Making sure I don't have any air pockets at all down in there. Then I'm just going to add that last bit right down in there. And then we're going to work around and get that all packed down in. And this is just enough to fill this crock that came with the kit. So if you have a small family like mine, this is absolutely a perfect size. I can make fresh butter in just 15 minutes. So while my biscuits are finishing in the oven, or breakfast or dinner is finishing, I can whip up some homemade butter in 15 minutes using this little kit. I absolutely love the kit. Now, I'm not affiliated with these in any way. So now I've got all of that packed down in there. Look at that beautiful butter. And I want to make sure it's packed in there good. Now I'm going to set that off to the side. And then I'm going to take just a paper towel and I'm going to wipe off all the edge of my butter bell. And any that I may have dropped there when I had that little drop. And then that's going to give me a nice, firm butter. So now the only thing I'm going to do is in your crock, you'll have a small line. And it's only about up to here on my finger. And you want to put cold water in your bell. And you only want to go up to that line. You don't want to go over that line. And then you're going to take your butter bell and you're going to turn it right upside down. You're going to set it into your crock and you're going to have fresh homemade butter. That's how quick, how easy that was to make that. And with you having the water in the bottom and putting it in the crock, it's going to form a natural seal. And for some reason, my phone keeps wanting to fall. It's going to form a natural seal. So you can set this on your counter if you want soft butter. You can put it in the refrigerator. And when you take it out, you have fresh, soft butter. And I've got just a little bit too much water in there. So I'm going to take a little bit out. So you have fresh, soft butter. And with me packing it the way I did, as you can see, none of that butter came out. It stayed nice and packed. I'm going to take that spoon back across there again and see if I can't move that water off of there because I had a little bit of water on it. Had a little bit too much water in my crock. Now I'm going to go right around the edge and clean it up again. And you can set this on the counter for several days, or you can store it in the refrigerator and you'll have nice fresh butter anytime that you want it. It's very easy to make. It's very quick. And I like to just set mine in the crock in my little bell and just set it right on my island. And I just made fresh bread, so I wanted to have some fresh homemade batter. So that's how quick and how easy it is to make your own butter. And I must still be a little bit above my line. This one's kind of hard to see. You can't hardly see that line in there. So with me putting the water in there, that's going to keep a nice seal when I put the crock bell back in. That way I know nothing's going to get into it. It'll stay longer if I keep it in the refrigerator and then just take it out and use it. And I have fresh butter anytime that I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of bread. And I'm using the Amish Turn and Churn Pro. And this is a little butter kit. And it came with not the spatula. It came with the little glass churn. And it has a stainless steel top, stainless steel paddle, and wooden handles on top and to turn. It came with your 2 wooden paddles to squeeze and shape your butter. I'm going to move this off to the side. It came with a little mat to set your little glass crock on, or glass churn on while you're churning. And it came with a wonderful little butter crock, and it does say butter. You probably can't see that, but it does say butter. And it's a nice little butter bell crock to put your fresh butter in. So now what I'm going to do is, I did make some fresh bread, so I'm going to slice a piece of bread, and I'm going to show you how pretty this butter is. So let me just get this bread. And I just made this last evening. And this is just regular white sandwich bread. If I can find my seam, I'll open it. There we go. And I want to get me a cutting board over here. So now I have my fresh loaf of bread. So now I'm going to just cut me a slice of bread. And I'm going to add some fresh butter on my bread. And this is the butter that we just made. My lighting in here is not the greatest. So what I'm going to do is just scrape me out some butter. And I'll show you how pretty this butter is on this slice of bread. And it is nice, soft, whipped butter. And when I take it out of my crock, I kind of scoop it in that manner. That way I know I'm still keeping everything nice and secure in my crock, in my little bell. And then I'm going to go ahead and just smooth that back down again. Make sure I don't have any air pockets in there, because I just made it. I'm going to take my paper towel and wipe the edges off for store when I'm putting it back in my crock. And now I'm going to cut me a slice of this bread here. And I want you to see how absolutely beautiful that butter is. I'm hoping that you can see that okay. This lighting's not the greatest. And I keep... And now for the taste test. Mmm. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely delicious homemade butter. If that would have been toasted or hot, that would have been even better. But I love the taste. I know that it's nice and fresh. I just made it. And we'll put it in my little crock. I'm going to leave that set on my counter today because we're having, I'm going to be putting on some barbecued ribs here in just in a few minutes. And I'm going to have barbecued ribs, macaroni salad, baked beans, and some rolls, and some homemade bread. That is going to be delicious on the rolls and on the homemade bread. So, that is the homemade butter. And as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap. Let me just move that off to the side. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap my loaf back up. I'm going to keep this piece out because I'm probably going to be using that as well. Hubby's outside. I'm sure when he comes in, he'll want to try the butter. He always likes to try the butter. And then I'm going to show you this wonderful gift that my awesome, amazing, beautiful husband ordered me yesterday. And I was surprised. And what a wonderful gift. So I'm going to show you that here in just a minute when I get all of this put back together and out of my way. So I'm just going to put my plastic wrap right on my bread. Keep it fresh. And I'll have that for dinner. I made that loaf yesterday. This I'm going to go ahead and keep out because I'm sure that I'm going to be using that with some of the fresh butter. So I'm going to leave that out because I'm sure we're going to be using it. So there is the fresh butter on bread. That shows you what it looks like. I'm going to move that to the side. I'm sure hubby will be in here in just a few minutes, and he will be eating that heel. He likes the end pieces. And my only ingredient that I had was the heavy whipping cream. And I used the Amish Chef Turn and Churn Pro butter making kit. And in 15 minutes, I had fresh butter. So that's how easy that is. And all I did was follow the little simple instruction recipe book that came with the little kit. I used I just got Kroger heavy whipping cream. Make sure it was room temperature. I followed my instructions. And now I have homemade butter. And I'll be setting that on my island. And here is the little churn container that it comes with. It's about a quart. And it has a stainless steel lid and a stainless steel paddle. And of course, that's my spatula that didn't come with the kit. And it also came with the two paddles. The one side is smooth and the other side has the little ridges for squeezing your water out of your butter. And in 15 minutes, you have fresh butter. That's how easy that is. So I'm going to go ahead and move that. I'm going to make myself a little bit of room here. And I'm going to show you this absolutely wonderful gift that my husband surprised me with yesterday. It was delivered yesterday. And I was really surprised. I'm going to show you this wonderful gift. And then here is the buttermilk that I had when I separated the butter. So I have my fresh butter that I made. And then I have my buttermilk to make buttermilk biscuits or pancakes. Hi, good morning. So I'll be putting that in the refrigerator, and I'll be making some fresh buttermilk biscuits or buttermilk pancakes. Okay, I want to show you what my wonderful, amazing husband got me yesterday. And I was so surprised that he ordered it. And I thought I would show you what he ordered me. Let me dry that off there. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have the box moved over into some butter. And then I'll show you the gift that my wonderful husband got me. I was taking one of my little ones, Maltese, out to, you know where, I'm not going to say it because they know what I'm saying. And there was a package on the porch. And just look at this wonderful gift that my amazing husband got me. It is by Vanderloom, and it is a cast iron enamel cookware for making sourdough bread and for baking bread or for whatever that I want to use it for. So I'm going to show you how pretty this is if I can get it out of the box. It is kind of heavy and my hands don't work very good, so we'll see how this goes. This could be clumsy, but I wanted to share this with you. And it came with this little pamphlet that says, "Bake the warmth of life." So I've got a box inside of a box, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try and do this without making a mess. I'm just going to set it upward. I think that would probably be the easiest way. Because my hands just don't work as good as they used to. And it's very nicely packed. And this would be the lid, so I'm going to set it off to the side. And I want to show you how pretty this is. And at first I thought it was white, but it's not white. And I want to lay down a white towel here because I don't want to set that down on my countertop. Okay, now let's see if I can get them in. Just look how pretty that is. My husband surprised me with a gift. And I said, "Well, what is that?" He said, "I thought you would enjoy it." And it's made by Vanderloom. And this is called the collar. At first I thought that was white. But that collar is oyster gray. It comes in a cherry, a sea salt, a teal, an olive, an oyster gray, and a royal blue. And he chose the oyster gray. So that's the color of this one. And that is made by Vanderloom. And it's a Dutch oven for baking bread. durable enamel finish, even heat distribution. I'll get it here in a minute. Superior heat retention. And let me see if I can close that box so you can see the whole. And then this tells you what all. It's safe for gas, electric, ceramic, induction, microwave, and oven safe. Oven safe up to 550 degrees. And again, it comes in different colors. My husband purchased this one for me as a gift. And this one is the oyster gray. So you have cherry, sea salt, teal, olive, oyster gray, and royal blue is the colors that this comes in. And this is a Dutch oven for baking bread. And I thought that was so sweet of my husband to get me a gift like that. And I went out on the porch and I seen a package. And I came in and asked him if he had ordered something. And he said, as a matter of fact, I did. And he said, why don't you open it? I'm busy. So when I opened it, he purchased me this beautiful Dutch oven. It is the cast iron enamel. Now this one does not have the bubbles on the lid, but it's absolutely beautiful. And this is the oyster gray, and it's made by Vanderloom. And I thought that was beautiful. What an absolutely wonderful gift. I have such an amazing husband. He is so amazing. So that is I guess this would be my Mother's Day gift. I think that's what he was intending that for. But how sweet. Just how sweet was that? I absolutely love it. He said the look on my face was worth it whenever I opened the box. And it did come with this little pamphlet that says, Bake the Warmth of Life. And it has your instructions. For classic white bread, whole wheat bread recipe, garlic cheese bread recipe, and oatmeal bread recipe, raisin nut toast bread recipe, banana chocolate toast bread, and toppings as creative as you. And then here it has your before your first use, and then your suitable heat sources, your cooking tips, your cleaning and drying tips, and your seasoning pan when you're baking. So it does come with a nice little instruction pamphlet with recipes. So that is my early Mother's Day gifts from my husband, my amazing husband. So, isn't that beautiful? And I don't know how many quarts that is. Let me see if it says. It may say on the box. It looks like it's about 4.5 quarts if I was to guess. .6 quarts is what this little sign here says. It says 4.6 quart oval bread Dutch oven, enamel cast iron bread oven for sourdough bread pan for baking artesian loaves and crispy crust, and it is oyster gray color. So that is a 4.6 quart. And that is my beautiful gift that my husband surprised me with yesterday. I have such an amazing husband. And then this morning we did make the butter, and we made the butter using the, and I'm not affiliated with them at all. We used the Amish Turn and Turn Pro butter making kit, and I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just thought with me having a small family, just my husband and myself, that this would be perfect for us. So that's the little kit that I used this morning making the butter. So I made butter this morning, and I got to share what a wonderful gift that my husband just got me. And it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it is the cast iron enamel, and it's made by Vanderloom. And this is the oyster gray. And it does come in different colors, and this is the color that he chose. So I think that's absolutely beautiful. He said he was looking for black because all of my other enamel was black, and he couldn't find black, so he went with the oyster gray. So my husband surprised me with this beautiful gift yesterday. It's a very nice enamel. And I like to make the some of the sourdough loaves in the oblong pan and in my Banneton basket, and that's why he said he wanted to get me this one, because of the Banneton basket, the oblong Banneton basket I had. So he surprised me with that yesterday, and it was delivered yesterday. So that is 4.6 quart, and it is enamel cast iron, and it is made by Vanderloom. That was the wonderful gift that I got. I have such an amazing husband. And it did come with this little instruction book and has several good little recipes in it. So I'm excited to get this washed and get me some sourdough going. As a matter of fact, you can see I've got my grain meal out over here. I'm going to grind some hard white wheat berries with my Nutri-Meal. I got my sourdough starter out of the refrigerator and let it warm up, and I'm getting ready to grind some fresh flour and feed this, and then I'm going to bake a loaf of bread in the new Dutch oven that my husband surprised me with. And I think that's going to be amazing. So I'm going to move this out of my way so I don't stumble. And I'm going to go ahead and grind a little bit of wheat berries, because right now I need some wheat berries. I'm excited to get a loaf of sourdough bread made in that new gift. That is just so pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and grind about 2 cups of wheat berries, and this is going to get loud. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. Sorry about that. That was a little bit loud. So I went ahead and got my flour ready for my sourdough loaf that I'm going to be making. And I've got my, let me see if I can move this over here. Let me put that on a paper towel. I'm going to set this in the refrigerator. That was what I had left over of my, I don't know why this keeps going down this morning. I must have my phone not tightened up well enough. That was what I had left over from my, my butter that I was making this morning. And since my husband got me an amazing new gift, which is the cast iron enamel bread pan, I am going to make a fresh loaf of sour bread, and I'm going to put it in there. So I'm going to be making an oblong loaf. And I will be using the new bread pan that my husband just got me, the new enamel Dutch oven, cast iron enamel Dutch oven. So I'm going to be making a fresh loaf of sourdough bread for this. And since it was unexpected and he surprised me with that wonderful gift yesterday, I had to bring out my sourdough starter. It was in the refrigerator, so I brought it out early this morning. I wanted it to get room temperature. And I wanted some fresh milled hard white wheat berries and for my flour. So I'm going to go ahead now and feed my starter. And then this afternoon, I can start making a loaf of sourdough bread to put in my new cast iron enamel bread pan that my husband just bought me. Now I'm going to go ahead and feed this. I'm going to put in a half a cup of my milled flour. And I just let this warm up, and I've already taken some discard out. So I took a half a cup out, so I'm putting a half a cup of my milled flour, and that's the hard white wheat berries. And now I'm going to put a half a cup of bottled water. And I'm going to stir this up, and I'm going to let this rise. And when it doubles its size, this afternoon, I can start making a loaf of sourdough bread. And I'll have it started for my new cast iron baking pan, bread pan that my husband bought me. What an amazing gift. My husband is so amazing. So I want to make sure I get all that stirred up really good. So those bubbles will be nice and active. And yes, my hands are clean. And now I'm going to move my marker band up, so I know how much starter I'm starting with. And then when it doubles its size, I will be ready to make my sourdough this afternoon. So I'm just going to let that set, and it's actually down to here. That's just where I was stirring it. But we're going to go ahead and let this get all bubbly. The bubbles are already starting to come to the top there. I'm just going to let that sit here and get really happy and active. And I'm going to make some sourdough bread in the new bread pan. So, I think that's all I have today. Other than I wanted to show you what I'm going to be doing. This was the honey dinner. Nice lady. Dinner time. Oh, dinner time's around 5, between 5 and 6. I started fermenting some honey garlic yesterday. It's supposed to be a natural immune builder, and it's supposed to help you if you get colds. It's supposed to help you get less colds and help you build your immune system to where if you do have a cold, they don't last this long. So I started fermenting this. I didn't do a large batch. I just did a small batch of garlic. This is the first time I've tried it. So it was fresh peeled and slightly crushed garlic. I did this on my live stream yesterday if you want to go check that out. And then I added honey. So yesterday, this is fermenting. And then I just made sure it was in a clean, sanitized jar with a lid. Now today I'm going to burp it, which is basically I'm going to open the jar. You could hear that little bit of air. So I'm going to go ahead and burp it and let it get a little bit of air because it is fermenting. So that was day 1. I had it sitting upright. Now today, oh, you can smell that garlic. Oh, I wish you could smell that in the honey. So today is day 2. So on day 2, I just needed to burp it. Now I need to turn it upside down. So I'll leave it now upside down. And then tomorrow I will do the same thing, but I'll turn it right side up and then I will burp it. And then tomorrow it'll be right side up. So each day you'll be rotating. So yesterday it was right side up. Today it's right side down. Tomorrow right side up. The 4th day right side down. And that will continue. And this will take at least 60 days to ferment. And then if I use just even a teaspoon of the honey, that's supposed to help with a natural immune booster. And it's supposed to also help with inflammation and sinus. So I really wanted to try this. So I'm trying that. So today's day 2, and I'm taking you along with me as I'm trying it. I'm sure that my Mennonite grandmother probably did this, and I probably had this as a child because she used to do a lot of home remedies, and I may have even tried this as a child, and I just did not know what it was. So today's day 2. I've burped it. It was upright yesterday. I burped it, and now it's upside down. And I'm going to leave that for 24 hours now, upside down. And I'm going to place that on a plate. Let me just get a bowl. I'm going to place that in a bowl just in case that does try to leak. It shouldn't. I've got it on good and tight. But since it's fermenting, I'm going to go ahead and just place that in a bowl. And just let that set. And for 24 hours, and then tomorrow I'll turn it right side up and burp it. And tomorrow, since it's day 3, I'll be leaving it right side up. And then after that, 24 hours, then I will burp it. And then again, I'll reverse it and put it upside down. And that way your honey is coating all of the garlic. And you can either eat the garlic plain if you want to eat the garlic plain, or you can cut it up and put it over your food, whatever you're eating. And you can also, they said if you have a cough, that if you take like a teaspoon of the honey or a couple teaspoons of honey, once this is fermented, it will help suppress the cough as well. So I'm trying this. I love garlic, I love honey, and I love fermenting, so we're going to give this one a try. This is new. So now I'm going to go ahead and store my flour in a container. And that is my fresh milled flour that I just milled. And I'll be putting it into a container once I wash it. This is not ready. But I'm going to be putting it in just a regular container because I will be using this. This is not airtight, but I will be using this fresh milled flour. And I had Hershey's Kisses in this, so this needs to be washed. And this needs to cool. This is a little bit warm whenever you mill it. So I want to make sure that this has completely had time to cool. And then I will put it in a clean, sanitized container. And if I was not going to be using this as fast, I would make sure that this container would have been an airtight container. But I'll be using this on a daily basis, so as I cook and bake. So this will be going into this container because I'll be using it pretty quickly. So that's what I'll be putting this in once that is cleaned and sanitized. So I got that done this morning. I've got quite a bit done today. And we got the butter made. And it is in the butter crock that came with the kit. And it does say butter. I got a little kitty over there trying to come through. And here is the fresh butter that we made. I don't want to upset my flour. And I got it packed in there so that it's no air bubbles. I've got water in my container that'll help make a seal. No, kitty. No, kitty. I was afraid Kitty was going to come through. He just jumped down. I can just leave this set on my counter, and with a little bit of water in the bottom, it's cold water that'll help form that seal. And then this will stay airtight. Nothing will get into my fresh butter that I just made today on the live stream. So if you just come in, this is what I was doing today. I was making fresh butter. So this will keep a nice seal. Nothing will get into it. I can, with that little bit of water in there, that helps to form that seal. I can leave this set on my counter for fresh, soft butter, or if I want to store it in the refrigerator, I can store it in the refrigerator. Now, I did not add any salt in my butter when I was making it today. I usually add butter because my husband prefers salted butter. But today, for video purposes, I did not add any butter. I just followed the instructions on the little kit that I was using today. And it came with this little butter bell in the crock. I've got the cold water in there. I've got my freshly made butter in my little crock. And the kit came with a nice little rubber pad because it came with this glass churn, and it has a stainless steel paddle, stainless steel lid, and wooden handles. And you just set this on this little round pad while you're churning, and that way your crock is not moving, or your churn is not moving around while you are churning. And then it also came with the two paddles, and it's soft on one side, and then they have the ridges on the other side, and that is so you can squeeze your butter and get the water out. You'll see all that on my live stream today if you go back and watch it from the beginning. And here is some bread, and I put the homemade butter on the bread. Just look at that. I did take a taste test, and it's absolutely delicious. Homemade butter in 15 minutes. It's so easy, and it is absolutely delicious. And I'll leave mine on the counter if I'm going to be using it right away and I want soft spread butter, or I'll store it in the refrigerator. And it usually lasts around a week. You just want to check it because it is fresh made. It does not have preservatives in it. So a lot of times it'll last longer if it's in the refrigerator. So that's what the fresh butter looks like. And it absolutely tasted delicious. So I put it on some fresh homemade bread that I just made last evening. And this is going to be part of my brunch today. So that is all I have today. And I'm going to hop off of here and I'm going to heat up my coffee. And I'm going to enjoy my homemade bread with butter. I'm going to have some coffee because I'm sure this is probably cold. Oh yeah, I need to heat up my coffee. I want to enjoy my fresh butter, fresh made butter. And again, I just wanted to show you what my wonderful husband, look at this wonderful gift that my husband got me. I went out on the porch yesterday and there was a package and it had his name on it. And I asked him if he ordered something. He said, oh yeah, but I'm busy, so can you go ahead and open it? He ordered me this beautiful bread crock. It is a cast iron enamel bread pan, Dutch oven. I said crock, Dutch oven. And he surprised me with that yesterday. And this is made by Vanderloom. And this color is an oyster gray. It's a very pretty light color. And enamel. Now this doesn't have the little beads on it. This has got the flat surface. That was the only thing I was surprised with, is it didn't have the little beads on the top of the lid. And this is a 4.6 quart cast iron enamel bread making Dutch oven that my husband surprised me with yesterday. So I think this is my early Mother's Day gift. I have such an amazing husband and I was so surprised. So I got my sourdough starter out of the refrigerator early this morning and I let it warm up and I just fed it. I milled some fresh hard white berries into some flour. I fed my starter and by tomorrow I will get to try out my wonderful gift from my husband and I absolutely love it. And this is an oyster gray color and it is made by Vanderloom. And that was the wonderful gift that my husband got me and surprised me with yesterday. And I was just so surprised. I have such an amazing husband. He is absolutely wonderful. So just look at that beautiful Dutch oven. And it is a 4.6 quart for making your oblong bread loaves of sourdough. And it did come with a nice little pamphlet, and it has several recipes in it. And it's a very nice gift. And this is the gift that he got me. And this is the different colors that you can get it in. It comes in a cherry, a sea salt, a teal, an olive. The oyster gray is what I was showing today. That's what he got me. And a royal blue. So those are the colors that it comes in. And it is a Vanderloom Dutch oven for bread baking. It's 6.5 or 4.6, sorry, 4.6 quart. So that's all I have today. But my husband is amazing. I love this gift. I was so surprised and I absolutely love it. He said, honey, I tried to find black because all of your other cast iron enamel Dutch ovens are black, but I couldn't find black, so he got me an oyster gray. What an amazing husband. What an amazing husband. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to get my kitchen cleaned up. I've got my sourdough starter fed, and it's going to start to get all active. And I'm using the flour that I just milled today on my live stream, the hard white. And I am going to have a loaf of sourdough bread dough started here soon so I can try out my wonderful, amazing gift. So I want to thank you for joining me today. And that's all I have. And I used the Nutri-Meal stone grinder. And I just ground the hard white wheat berries. And that's the flour that you're seeing. And I milled that on the live stream today. It was a little loud, so I had to turn it down. Turn the live stream down a little bit. And then here's the fresh flour. I wanted fresh flour for my sourdough starter, so I did that and got it started. So hopefully tomorrow or the next day I will have a loaf of bread that I can put in my oblong Benetton baskets, and I can try out my wonderful gift for my husband. And I would say this is my Mother's Day gift. What an amazing husband. So, not only will we have fresh sourdough in the wonderful new gift, but I made fresh butter, homemade butter. So we'll have fresh homemade butter to go with the sourdough when I bake it. So, that's all I have today. So I'm going to hop off of here, get my kitchen cleaned up, get off my foot, and give it a break. I've been on here about an hour and a half, and that's about all I like to stay on because of the bad lagging foot. So come in your kitchen, like I always say, enjoy your kitchen, have fun. Don't be afraid to try new things. You can make your own butter. And it only takes 15 minutes. Fresh homemade butter. 15 minutes, one ingredient, and that would be your heavy whipping cream at room temperature. And 15 minutes to churn it, and you have homemade butter. That's how easy it is. It's very easy, and it's absolutely delicious, and it is so rewarding. You know it's all natural. You know that you made it yourself. And you can see where I took a bite of that. Oh, just look at that fresh butter on a fresh loaf of bread. So that's going to be part of my brunch when I hop off of here. So I need to hop off of here, get my kitchen cleaned up, and I'm going to eat some of my muffins. And these were the breakfast muffins that I made on one of my live streams. And these are the ham, egg, and cheese muffins breakfast muffins that I made. So I'm going to warm some of these up, and I'm going to have it with my fresh butter and bread. And that is going to be a wonderful, absolutely wonderful brunch. Oh, I know what I needed to do. If you want to hang in there, I wanted to get some ribs started. I'm going to be making some barbecued ribs. So I want to go ahead and get them in the crock pot. And I also wanted to show you, set that off to the side there. I wanted to show you something new that I got. And I'm just trying it out. So, let me see if I can move a few things around here real quick. And I always use, or like to use, the crock pot liners. So I wanted to show you what I found. I haven't tried them out yet. So I'm going to show you these. Let me get my crock pot out. And I'm going to put on some barbecued ribs. And I found these wonderful, I got 2 different ones. These are crock pot liners. And I've been using the plastic disposable ones because when I make pinto beans, it wants to leave that film in my crock pot, and I don't like that. So I usually use the disposable slow cooker liners. And I thought, wow, if I can get these and save money, I really want to try those. So I ordered 2 different ones. These are a little bit thinner, and then the other one is heavy. So let me get my crock pot ready here. I'm just going to take a towel and wipe that out. I'm going to dampen my towel. And I want to get some ribs started for dinner. I'm going to make some barbecued ribs. So I'll bring you over here where I'm at. And I'm just going to make some barbecued ribs this morning. I'm just going to throw them on real quick. And they are frozen. And because I have a small family, I just divide my packages up in small packages. And I know that way there's no waste. And it's just enough for my husband and myself. So I can buy in bulk larger sizes and save money by paying the price of a larger package, and then I can divide it up into individual packages that will be perfect for my husband and myself, put it in freezer bags and put it in the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and start some barbecued ribs. I'm going to turn that up on high to start. And I'm going to go ahead and use what's in this bottle. And then I've got a fresh bottle here. And I'm going to go ahead and start some ribs this morning before I go offline here. And I'm just using Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. And I'm using, it's a honey barbecue sauce. So I have some potato salad or macaroni salad already made. And I have baked beans already made. And I want to put on some barbecued ribs. And we have homemade bread for dinner. So the only thing I don't have made yet is my ribs. So I'm going to go ahead and get those started. And that will be dinner this evening. And these are probably still a little bit frozen, but they're going to be cooking all the rest of the day, so they will be absolutely fine. Hopefully you can see that. So I put some barbecue sauce in the bottom of this pan. Now I'm not using one of those liners for this. It can be used for it, but I haven't cleaned those up. I just got those in, I think, day before yesterday. Okay, I'm just going to let that one set. And as these warm up, I'll end up adding that rest of that in there because I do not like to waste. And then I'm just going to get some barbecue sauce on there. And I want to cover them really good with barbecue sauce. And they're just going to cook slow the rest of the day. Let me do just a little bit more. And that is going to be dinner. So I'm going to have barbecued ribs. I've already got macaroni salad made. I've already got baked beans made. I baked a loaf of homemade bread last evening, and I just sliced some of that on my live stream today to put my homemade butter on. So we have a loaf of homemade bread, and I have everything to make a Caesar salad for a side salad. So that will be my dinner tonight. So anyway, that's all I have today. Oh, I wanted to show you these. I haven't showed you. I almost popped off of here and didn't show you. Now this is the heavy one. This one's really heavy. And these are the liners that I found. I have not tried them yet. They just come in. Now this is a heavy one. So I normally buy, like I said, these plastic liners for my crock pot. And then I found these online one day when I was looking for something. I don't even remember what. But somehow these come up. So these are a crock pot liner. And now this is heavy. And it is heavy duty. And you just put it in your crock pot. And there's your liner. And you can wash it and save money. You're not buying the plastic liners. So that one is more heavy. As you can see, it's thick. It's a heavy liner. So that you just drop down in your crock pot and put everything in. And like I said, when I make beans, like especially pinto beans, it wants to stain my crock pot. So that's why I always use the plastic liners when I'm doing anything that I think is going to stain the inside of my crock pot. So I'm going to try these. I'm not sure if they even had a name on them. But I did find these online. I'm not sure where. I'll have to look and find it and put it in my description below. So that is the heavy duty one. And then these two are a little bit thinner and more flexible. And they say they're reusable, leak-proof, food-grade silicone. And these came with as a pair of two. And it has the gray and the black. And these are more thin. These are silicone. Now, the other one really didn't have anything in the package at all. No instructions or anything. This one does have instructions, step 1, step 2, and step 3, showing you how to use it. So basically, you would be putting it into your crock pot, and then you would just be folding it right over your handles and all the way around and down like you would a liner. But this one, you would also be covering your handles, and then you would just put your food in and cook. So this would be turned over your handles and line your crock pot. And this one is supposed to be used in all sizes. And this is a light, a thinner one. It's more flexible, and it is silicone. And it is food-grade silicone. And it says that these are reusable and heat-resistant up to 446 degrees Fahrenheit. And it says steps 1, 2, and 3. And then it is showing a 6-quart. And, wait a minute, it says supposed to be a 6. It fits 6, 7, and 8-quart oval round slow cookers. So you can use it from a 6-quart up through an 8-quart. So I thought that was really, really handy. So once you get that in there and get it around your crock pot handles, just put your food in and take it out, empty your food out and wash it. And you have a reusable silicone crock pot liner, and that way I'm not wasting money buying the plastic slow cooker liners. And with today's prices, I'm trying to save everywhere I can. And when I seen that, I thought I would share that and share it with you. And this came in a kit of 2. So it had the black and a gray. So this came with 2. So I wanted to show you that since I was getting my slow cooker out there this morning to get my barbecue ribs going. I found these online. I'll have to look and see if I can find them again, and I'll try and put them in my description down below if I can find it, or look it up where I ordered it, and I'll try and put that in my description down below. And that came in the kit of 2. And these are the crock pot, reusable crock pot silicone liners for your crock pot. And then this one is more of a heavy duty liner for your crock pot as well. So I have not tried them yet. They just come in, so they need washed, sanitized, and then I will try them, and I'll let you know what my personal honest opinion is of them. So I thought I would share that with you since I was getting my crock pot out today. And if I can save money, I like saving money. And I thought, well, that's just a really good idea. That way I'm not spending money on the plastic ones. They're easy to store. I'll just fold them back up, put them back in the package they came in for storage, and I've just been storing them. I haven't washed them up yet and tried them. I just got these in. So this is the heavy duty one, and it only came in a pack. These are the lighter silicone, reusable, washable, and these are the crock pot liners. And this one goes from 6 quart up through 8 quarts. So you can use it for all sizes. So I thought I would share that with you today. So that is all I have, and I need to hop off of here and get some things done, because I got a lot to get done today. I always have a lot to get done. So I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to take care of some, putting away some flour, washing containers, cleaning up my kitchen, and getting all of this back together and having me a brunch. And I'm going to be using some of my amazing ham, egg, and cheese muffins, breakfast muffins that I made the other morning. And I just took me out a pack of 4. I'm going to have some of these for my brunch. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I showed you how to make butter and just how easy it is to make butter. So if you just come in, just go back to the beginning and you can see how easy it was to make the butter. And that was the main thing I wanted to get done today. So we made homemade butter in 15 minutes. That's how easy it was. So you can go back to the beginning and you can see how I did that. So don't be afraid to try new things. Enjoy your kitchen. Come in your kitchen and have fun. Enjoy it. Try new things. I'm always learning new things. So enjoy your kitchen. Enjoy your day. And everybody have an amazing weekend. And I will see you the next time. Bye-bye, everybody. And thank you for joining me today in the kitchen. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will catch you the next time. Bye-bye. Have an absolutely wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.